The number of people I hear, they're older and they don't have the health and the energy they used to have anymore to travel the world, to see everything, is really a problem. And most people don't think about it. They're like, well, I'm going to do that when I'm retired. But yes, you probably will have the time when you're retired fully to do that, to travel the world or do whatever you want to do. But you might not have the energy or the health to do that. And that is a real thought. And if you can do it now in your, late 30s or 40s or 50s, whatever it is, why wait until you're 65 to do it? If you can afford your lifestyle, then why not do it now? Why wait until you're 65 and gamble on your health? Hey everyone, welcome back to Budget Travel Therapy. This is KB. If you're between the ages of 45 and 65, if you're from America and looking to retire and travel the world within the next 2 to 10 years, this channel's for you. Today I want to share something a bit personal. This is not about your normal travel tips. It's going to be a little bit more of a personal story and why I created this channel. Maybe you will relate to my story. Maybe you feel the same way. So before we started slow traveling, life in the US was not bad, but it just felt like we were in the hamster wheel. We were doing the same thing. We had the jobs, we had houses, we had businesses, we were working and hustling and working to make money and build a life that we thought we wanted. My husband and I'm in my late 30s, my husband's in 40s. And, we, just like everybody else, thought we're going to work another 20, 30 years before we can retire. And then we would like to travel the world and live the life that we want to live. The life that we had in the US was not bad by any means, but it wasn't fulfilling. The feeling is that we were constantly working to pay for the liabilities, the bills that we had, and constantly working to run the businesses, to work a job. And it was just unending. The responsibilities didn't end. The bills didn't end. The work didn't end. Our to-do list didn't get smaller by the day. The more we worked, the more there was to work. And to be honest, I was burnt out and I did not want to feel like that feeling of burnt out anymore. I've always asked, there's got to be more to life than just working, than just hustling, than going from deadline to deadline, from going from, this venture to that venture. And sometimes, that's exciting for those of us who like to have the high drive and achievement mindset because we want to achieve, we want to go to the next level, we want to build this life, and we want to, have the American dream and all this stuff. But we just accumulated a lot of responsibilities by then. And I was busy, but I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel productive. And the joy and the passion and the satisfaction I had once from the businesses that I was running, from the jobs that I had, was no longer there. And it did not take me till I was in my 50s or 60s to feel that way. And in a way that I'm thankful, actually, why I felt that way in my late 30s. And I think a lot of you probably feeling the same way. It's just that sometimes we just don't get a chance to really slow down and listen to how we're feeling, what we're desiring, because life has to go on. You have a schedule to run, you have a household to run, you have a job, maybe you have a business, so you just got to keep going and going. But if we were to have the luxury to slow down and actually listen to ourselves and our bodies, it would tell us a very different story. And that's definitely the case for me. I was worn out physically, emotionally, mentally when we left about a year ago to Vietnam. I was worn out. I did not care. I did not want to do another business. I did not want to do another deal. I did not want to do another work project. I was cooked. And it was just nonstop and exhausting, the demands of life just in general. So my husband was tired as well, working long hours. And so we were both was just in the same boat. But I don't know why we haven't really talked about it. We knew that we wanted something new. We needed a change, but we just thought, oh, that's another, another deal or another work project or another business that we needed. Another, accumulation, the next thing to buy, the more responsibility we needed, the next promotion or whatever. We didn't realize that the new thing that we were craving was not another stuff, not another promotion, not more responsibilities, not more projects, not another business venture. It was that we wanted to live more free, have more time, and have more freedom in terms of times, in terms of finances, in terms of location. Once we started slow traveling, it became very clear to us that, the amount of work it's required in the US. Everybody's feeling the crunch right now with inflation, the gas prices, the grocery prices, the housing prices is ridiculous. Everything is going up and the quality is going down for an average American. Now, if you have really high income and you love your job and you get excited to get up and go to work every day, good for you. You already won. But most of us don't feel that way or don't feel that way anymore. Maybe once we felt that about our job, about our businesses, about our responsibilities, but we have reached the point where we got up and we were not excited. We did not want to get up and go to our responsibilities. We were dreading it. We were tired. We were exhausted. And the fact that we didn't own our time, the fact that we didn't own our freedom, our location, we couldn't just leave and take off and go somewhere and still have financial freedom, still have our jobs and businesses. That was a big wake up call for us. And we did not want to wait until we're 65 to retire so we can live our dream of traveling the world and seeing other cultures and experiencing different things in life. We did not want to be in the hamster wheel for another 20, 30 years to finally get there. And we don't even know, our health is not promised. Our sanity is not promised. The amount of people who get dementia, who get Alzheimer's, who are physically ill and have injuries and things like that, and that can't travel anymore is very, scary to look at. And we do not want to take that chance to wait until we're 65 to travel the world. We want to do that as early as we can. And we started looking for ways to how we can make that possible, how we can have location freedom, how we can have financial freedom, how we can have our time freedom. And I think the moment we realized we don't want to wait another 20, 30 years was a couple of months into our travel in Asia. We had this feeling of this ease, our body was finally able to take a breath and just feel good and not feel this constant pressure of I gotta go, 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 go. I can't relax. I gotta be on and on high alert all the time. I have to be hyper aware and I have to constantly juggle all these things and responsibilities and bills and things in the States. And when we realized that in order to live in other countries and more affordable places, we did not have to work as much as we were working in the States. That was a big eye opener for us. And we realized, oh, we don't have to work that much. We don't have to hustle that much if our cost of living is not that high. And we can retire, semi retire, or we can even have a remote work. We can travel half the year. We can come back to the States half the year or, a few months at a time or however this lifestyle. There's so many ways to do this lifestyle. You can travel full time or part of the year, or, you can have several different home bases and to different parts of the world. And as long as the numbers and the lifestyle fits and works for you, that's really the world is your oyster. So we realize there's a lot of options if we explore, if we think outside the box, and if we're willing to be a little bit different than the traditional script that we're handed in the States, then people, do. They wait until they're 65. And the number of people I hear, they're older and they don't have the health and the energy they used to have anymore to travel the world, to see everything, is really a problem. And most people don't think about it. They're like, well, I'm going to do that when I'm retired. But yes, you probably will have the time when you're retired fully to do that, to travel the world or to whatever you want to do. But you might not have the energy or the health to do that. And that is a real thought. And also, if you can do it now in your, late 30s or 40s or 50s, whatever it is, why wait until you're 65 to do it? Instead of working 50, 40, 50 hours a week in the US just to, break even or barely making it in the States, for most people, why not travel half the year or why not get a part-time remote job and then travel the world? Or, you can go house sitting to lower the cost of travel, whatever it is. There's so many ways to do this lifestyle if you want it. And so we realized we have a lot more options than we initially thought we would. Before we went on this trip, we thought, oh, you have to have all these millions of dollars to retire and travel the world. You have to be wealthy to do this lifestyle. And I'm finding out more and more people who do this today, after they're retired or early retired or even still working and still do this lifestyle. And because the cost is so much less for you to live on in some of these affordable countries, especially if you strategically pick some of the affordable countries that have amazing, amazing quality of life that your dollar buys you, it is really a game changer. Instead of working 40, 50 hours in the US just to barely make it, and you're in the hamster wheel, exhausted and burned out and tired and dreading getting up and going to work every day, you could slow travel the world and maybe have a uh, part-time remote job that doesn't make you as much money as if you were in the US, but or have a business or side hustle or something that affords you that lifestyle. And whatever your number is, that's enough for you to live on and, put in for retirement or savings or whatever your goals are. If you can afford your lifestyle, then why not do it now? Why wait until you're 65 and gamble on your health? You never know what life's going to what's going to happen in life. So that is what really opened our eyes is about a couple months into our trip in Asia, we just realized, oh, this is possible. There's so much different options to make this happen rather than waiting 20, 30 years. You might have to wait, 5 years or 2 years, however it's going to long for you to get to the point where you can do this. You got to have a plan to work on this. And so that's what we're doing now is to working on that plan to do that. Your timeline is going to be different than mine. Obviously, it might take you a couple of years. It might take you 5 years. It might take you 10 years or more. Whatever your timeline is, it's your plan, your life, your dream, your next chapter. But I'm just here to share what our experience has been so far and how are we taking steps to make this a reality in our next chapter. You might identify with me that you might be wondering, hey, why I don't want to wait 20, 30 years to retire and do this. I want to be able to figure out a way, figure out a plan, and take actionable steps to get there to do this in the next 2 years, 5 years, whatever your timeline is. You can do that. If you feel like what I was feeling, maybe you can identify with that feeling of I'm feeling burned out. I don't want to work this much anymore. I'm not getting the joy and the satisfaction and the passion that I once had for my business, for my job, for the town I live in, for my lifestyle, and I need something different and I want this travel lifestyle. Please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss videos like this and other practical tips on how to make this happen. I'll see you next time.